Hello, everybody! It's great to see you guys today. I hope everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. Unfortunately, I had to work, but I was able to see the fireworks from where I worked, and I got paid overtime. So, in any case, it's been a while since I've been able to talk to you guys. I've been feeling under the weather. My throat is still sore, so if I drink a lot of water today, please forgive me. My throat, like I said, still a little sore. I was very sick on Friday. And there's a lot of background noises. I had to open a window because it's kind of hot today. In any case, there's a lot to get to talk about. I'm just gonna give. I didn't plan anything. I'm gonna be honest, so I'm just gonna go off the cuff and talk about 4th of July. Talk about whatever's on your guys' mind. Just open Q&A. I think right now, because I haven't passed my test, I can take donations. So you can, if you want to donate through the entropy link, that's still there. It's good to see everyone. Orange Chan, I have with me here a little tangerine in honor of Orange. It's just so great to think about that guy. This just means nothing. This is definitely not a physical representation, embodiment of the guy in a Discord named Orange, but he's the one who made the video, so I can't be too upset at him. In any case, this is I guess a relative of his, the tangerine. I don't usually eat oranges, they're too big for me. Only have the tangerines, so I might be eating this later on stream. Maybe I'll do some Fruit Ninja, just slice it open for no reason at all. But let me just drop the entropy link first. And there's a lot to talk about. For one, I'm probably going to stream Friday, but that is also the day of my test, so no guarantees for Theology Hour. And that might be the last Theology Hour for a while, because I'm going on vacation for a bit, and then I'm also going to be moving soon to Florida. So it's going to be a very stressful and busy time for me. I'll try to, maybe I'll prepare streams to post on YouTube, but in any case, please be patient. The content is going to be a little slower coming out. And there's a lot of content on YouTube. I organized it by playlist now. So if you are missing a few streams, you can go back and watch those ones. As you can see, I got the red, white, and blue on today in honor of 4th of July, in honor of Independence Day. What a great day it is of the year. Unlike Juneteenth, it's actually the day we celebrate our independence from England and from our basically the day we declared sovereignty over ourselves, the right to determine our nation of our own country. What did I want to else? Did I say? This might shock some people. This might scandalize some people, but maybe they'll stop watching my show after this. But I have to be honest. I have to be transparent with you guys. I have to, in order to be a certified financial advisor, I have to register through NASA. And I know there's a lot of Semitic influences with NASA. I know all about it. I know about the firmament. I'm aware of that stuff. I'm aware of the Semitic influences, but unfortunately I do have to register with NASA. That is to say, the national what is the actual acronym real quickly? I almost forgot it. Oops. The North American Securities Administration. That's the Administration Association. Not to be confused, of course, with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Different NASA. So I have to register with NASA, the North American Securities Administration Association. Like I said, different one than the other NASA. I would never sell out that much. Okay, maybe I'll become, a financial advisor and have to, deal with usury and what have you, but I would never go so far as to submit to, the other NASA, the one that means deceive in Hebrew, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Now that one, I wouldn't sell out to that one, don't worry. I wouldn't compromise my principles that much. Yeah, I kind of ruined the joke though, and I had to look it up. I can't believe I forgot it. Anyway, So yeah, that's I just wanted to like throw that in there. Another thing that I've been pondering about that I wanted to tell you guys is I was actually driving through like this kind of like rural area, this white like rural like countryside, kind of like picturesque um area near me. It's kind of near me, but in any case, it's kind of removed from all the Hispanic neighborhoods, so it's very white, very rural area, very beautiful. And I saw this stand, and I was like, "Why? There's just like a stand there with fruit." And I was like, "Oh, are they just giving that away for free? Like, why isn't it vandalized yet?" And then my friend explained to me, because I was visiting him, that you go to the stand and it's like a farmer's market. You put money in a jar and you pay for the food. And I was like, how has it not been like all stolen? Like, how has this not been ransacked? And he's like, I guess we're just a high trusting community, and there was money in the jar, and people were just following the rules. Can you believe that? And it was very shocking to me, because it just showed what it looked like to live in a high trust society. What it looks like when you live in non-Bayor, yeah, the village from non-Bayor. What it means to be in a very homogenous, cohesive neighborhood, or cohesive like civilization, in which people trust each other. They follow the rules. The rules make sense, and everybody um, he kind of holds each other accountable without having to need force, without having need like a strong executive branch or anything like that, or a strong police like presence. People just naturally follow the rules, and when you have these cohesive, trusting societies, and it was a good lesson that I was able to learn there. And just seeing this like stand, this fruit stand, there's a lot to be learned in just a simple fruit stand. And so it's something, that would be nice to see in America, is more internal cohesion, more homogeneity. So that is some of those things that we in America first are fighting for. How come black people don't do that? It's crazy, huh? Yeah, someone else says they had one growing up near their home. And I think there's another one I saw too. I saw it on someone's like Snapchat. There was something similar with books. Like, people would just put books in there for free, and people would take them out and read it. And you might know why that's not in a black neighborhood. In any case, but just these kind of transactions where people just trust each other. They won't steal it. They won't ransack it. They won't desecrate these like this act of charity, basically. These act of trust that, oh, if I put fruit out there, something that people can buy, people will actually buy it. They won't just take it for themselves. They won't be filled with greed. And this is something that I'm very, like, I guess I'm surprised by, just growing up in, I wouldn't say crime-ridden areas, but I've grown up most of my adult life in high school as well, in this very Hispanic, like, community with like a lot of white people mixed in there. So there's always been this sense of like, you really don't trust each other because you don't know who's out there. There's always been this sense of atomization, that you're kind of on your own. There's no sense of community. I don't know my neighbors. When I see them, they're speaking Spanish to each other, so I don't feel like comfortable trying to get to know them, frankly. And that's not me trying to be like uncharitable or anything like that. It's just that there's cultural differences that separate us. They're simply not American. And that's what it comes down to, frankly, is that they just do not recognize, the spirit of America that doesn't live within them the same way it lives with us. And so we can't interact in the same way that we would like to. And there's been multiple studies done on these types of things, particularly economic studies. I remember seeing one study in which they've like showed that people in homogenous societies, they have a lot more trust for each other, and they were more likely to give out loans, like loans within the like families and to friends and what have you. In more atomized societies, more balkanized societies, these things are less likely to happen, and so there's economic consequences to having a less cohesive, less homogenous society. Most of the books on frame right now were stolen. And the one I saw in like some guy's Snapchat, they were not stolen, so I don't know where he lived, but I imagine it was somewhere like with a strong, white population or Asian population or something like that, some population that really values knowledge and literature. But tonight I wanted to talk about, let me see if there's any other anecdotes or announcements I have to make. You talking about the books I stole? Oh, catch me. That's how I got all my books in my bookshelf. You caught me. It was those free book exchanges. Um yeah, I'm thirsty. Like I said, my throat still is in a little pain, so you're gonna have to forgive me. Deal with that. I think that's all my announcements to make. Let me know if you guys think of anything I haven't said. But like I mentioned, a lot less content coming soon, unfortunately, because I'm moving. But once I move, then that's gonna be exciting. Gonna be a new location, new background. Gonna have to change things up a bit. So we'll see what happens. Alright, but tonight I just wanted, or rather this afternoon, I wanted to kind of just speak about America. The United States of America. Great country, love America. And one of the things that I saw going around on the Twitter timeline, and they're not wrong, is that the government sucks. Not just with Joe Biden, it's been that way since probably you could say after World War II, and we saw neoliberalism really start to take off, and the globalization of the economy, the globalization of politics. We started seeing the United States had a long-standing military used for intervention in countries that we really shouldn't be involved in. So we see all this escalation that's driven by the cabal, the satanic pedophile elites, you know how it is. And so this is not something to be too excited about. It's not something to be too passionate about. And so it's hard to, get excited for America. But people often forget that the state, which is, this very transitory authority, particularly our state, and the actual people, the spirit of our people, are two very separate things. And I think this is kind of best embodied when you think about Japan, and that the fact that they have a prime minister, and the prime minister is supposed to represent the head of state. The head of the government, he's the one that's going to help make the laws, and through the parliamentary procedures or however it works in Japan. But the spirit of the people is embodied in the emperor. He represents what they say is the nation. And the state has changed. It used to be the shogun. It used to be various other forms of more feudalistic, decentralized system. And then you had done the Meiji period. You had the shogun take over and really unite all the clans in Japan. And then today we have, at the post-war period, you have this kind of liberal, parliamentary procedure system, liberal democracy. And so we see this, constant evolution and change. And I imagine we'll see something similar with the United States government, and it's continued to change quite a bit since the founding. The original intention was that the states, the sovereignty was really invested in the 13 colonies, who surrendered some of their civil liberties to the federal government in order to have protection, and so that the interstate interactions would be smooth, and there wouldn't be conflict between them, and that there would be some body to defend all the states. And so the authority was really, in the beginning, invested in different states. They were not even subject to the Bill of Rights. They could remove people's speech if they wanted to. They could establish a religion, as they often did. It wasn't until later, until the Civil War, they did the 14th Amendment, and then that's when things started going in a bad direction, I would say, in the United States of America, with the federal government taking a lot more power than it really needed to. That being said, going back to Japan now. In Japan, when we think about the emperor, who is he? It's obviously the emperor has stayed the same. There's been new emperors, obviously, different dynasties, but it's the same family lineage. There's this continuity there. We see this transmission, in this case, it's a genetic transmission, but there's something behind the surface. It's not just simply that this guy is just the son of this guy, this is the son of this guy. But rather, this person, according to Japanese lore, I'm not saying that this is true, but according to Japanese lore and their culture, The emperor descends from their chief goddess or kami, Amaterasu. Amaterasu is kind of like this. You take the principle of what the sun is, this sustaining force, and then you kind of add this spiritual element to the sun, that is to say, like the form of the sun. And always we know all form is kind of like this manifestation of God. It's engendered from God. And so then they anthropomorphize that. And so then they say like the sun, there's some kami that shares some substantial quality with the sun. There's some essential quality between them. And it's anthropomorphized into Amaterasu. And Amaterasu basically became, I think it was like one of Amaterasu's descendants, Ninjini or something, Ninjigi. I don't know. It was the kami of rice. That one like basically had a kid and became incarnate, and that was the emperor. And the emperor's descendants are literally just the kami in flesh. Basically, that's what they believe, or used to believe at least. And so what does that mean though? It basically is the emperor is this representation of the spiritual, he's like this physical manifestation of the spiritual principle that unites all of Japan. The thing that is able to unite all the Japanese together, the civilization of Japan, Nihon, is their that kind of the spiritual substratum, or the spiritual principle on which the entire nation is founded, from their particularly individual practices, like just taking their shoes off before they enter a home. This is like this active, like seen as cleanliness. Cleanliness is a virtue that Shintoism was obviously instilled in the minds of the Japanese, to even more periphery practices that are very well known in Japan, like sumo wrestling and kabuki theater. Things like this, these were things that were done in Shinto shrines in order to please the kami. And this has always been understood. Even during the Meiji period, the state made it very clear. I should have brought out my book on Shinto so I could read some passages, but it was never this separation of church and state, but rather the institution of the state recognized that its cohesion and its spiritual structure depended on Shintoism, and that is why it established what, like, they called it like the shrine community or something like that. I forget the exact name of what they called it, but basically it was this network of shrines that they all were able to nationalize, and so that they could better foster this sense of like they called it a shrine religion. They kind of separated the shrine and the image of, like, the Torii Gate. They saw this as like ways to unite the community of Japan, and to see this as this common spiritual principle from actually the religion itself and the way people would individually practice that religion. Now, how does this relate to us? How does this relate to America, the United States of America? Obviously, talking about very different traditional society. And what I'm going to propose to you today is that the United States of America is not great because of the Constitution. I mean, it was, I guess, an okay document compared to, some of the stuff coming out of the French Revolution, but by no means is it perfect, and something that I'm not willing to idolatrize it or raise it to any elevation above simply a piece of paper. But what makes America great is this, again, is something that is intangible. It's something that is a part of our identity, which relates to something vertical. Oftentimes people just think on this very horizontal level. We think about the people around us and the way they look or something like that, but our focus has to be on the vertical. It has to be on that which is transcendent, and that is to say the spiritual principle which unites America. And I've spoken about this before, that America is probably the only country, at least that I can think of, that was founded by these Puritans, by these people, not all the colonies obviously, but there's various ones that were founded by various Protestant denominations fleeing religious persecution, these Anglo-Germanic people. And for that reason, there's, like, I would say two strands of, I guess, besides just generic Christianity, two things that are very unique to America. One is the Protestant work ethic, which I've spoken about very extensively. I don't think I need to rehash that. And the second one is the puritanical ethic. I think that we're very duty-driven, in some cases almost to a fault. The Western countries in general, not just the United States of America. I think Western Europe embodies this very profoundly, and this is one of the reasons why they are I wouldn't say this is like specifically true, but generally it is true that the West ended slavery for humanitarian principles and humanitarian reasons, where that wasn't the case in other countries. They were forced by the UN later on or in other places to do so. And so it is this, it is this spiritual undercurrent that lives within the hearts in each and every one of us. That is, white Anglo-Saxon, that, I would say that almost all Europeans can at least assimilate to this, but it's something that I think is very unique to white Anglo-Saxons, just as the Japanese people, the Nihonians, or I don't know, what did they call them? Nipponians? I don't know. But anyway, the Japanese people, the way they've kind of adapted themselves to this perennial tradition is through the Shinto religion. The way the United States has kind of come at this thing is through the values that I just mentioned. And these are the things that are going to last. These are the things that are eternal. Is these eternal values. The United States of America and its Masonic foundation, as some people have called it, United States of America and its liberal foundation, these are not things that are innate to human nature. They've been rather enforced upon us by, I guess you could say, like the Vaishyas or the bourgeoisie class, a lot of the founding fathers. Though they were brilliant men who were of faith, I would say a lot of them were leading Bible studies, some of them were pastors. Regardless, a lot of them were also merchants, and so the way that they kind of came at these types of situations is they would take some higher principle and then reinterpret it from kind of this materialistic standpoint, and maybe I'll go into more detail about this in a minute. But because of that reason, then the government of the United States of America is not going to be traditionalist, obviously. But that doesn't mean the people aren't. That's what people don't understand, is that, you have the founding fathers. Some of them were Freemasons. Obviously, I'm not a fan of Freemasonry. I think, that doesn't need to be explicated any further than that. But there were a lot of, the United States of America was composed of 13 individual colonies, lots of people in these colonies. Most of them were not Freemasons. Most of them were just your average farmer, merchant, pastor. They were just average people living an average life, and then they add their own sets of values that determined who they were. And these are the things that are innate within our own psyche and spirit. These are the things that I would say are latent within us. And unfortunately, as materialism takes on a greater and greater part of our lives, the spiritual aspect goes darker and darker and darker, but it's still there. It still subsists, I believe, within everyone, I think, has this. Because we're all made in the image of God, we all have the natural law written on our hearts. But the way in which we've adapted to it based on our genetics, based on our mental circumstances, environmental conditions, is going to be different for every civilization. It is different for Europe, it was different for America, it's different for Japan, it was different for India. And so that is why America has to return, in a sense, to those perennial roots. That's what makes America great, is these perennial roots. And that is what is the heart of America. That is the soul of America. Joe Biden wants you to think that the soul of America is neoliberalism or liberal ideas. That's not true. The soul of America is these Christian principles. That is the heart of America. I remember talking to another friend of mine and bringing up the fact that, he asked me something like, Nick Fuentes, he is a reactionary. Nick Fuentes, he is, someone who obviously probably would prefer distributism, perhaps even monarchy. Why is he America first? I said, why is America, why would he want America to be first? If, the way he said it is the way that the values of America is defined by something materialistic. And what I was trying to explain to him is basically what I just told you guys. Yet there is a substratum. Substratum is this thing that's kind of in the background determining our being and our nature. That is perennial. It's just been tainted and has been obscured by this materialist reality. But it's still there, and it's that intangible aspect of us that we are still trying to fight for, that we're still trying to preserve. That is what we're trying to conserve as conservatives. That is what the tradition that we're speaking of is, this fire that imbues and drives us, that it drove our ancestors to expand west, to convert the natives, to teach them the true faith. That is what drove them, and to do great things, to go to the moon, to build great skyscrapers. So these are like it was these values, the Protestant work ethic and the Puritan ethic, that really drove America to be a great country, and that's what makes us great, and that is what we have to cling on to and hold on to for dear life, as the cabal of liberals and materialists and nihilists and Jewish people, they want to try to take that from you. Hollywood, the media, I can name a whole bunch of people, neoconservatives, leftist. I can name a lot of different people who want to try to take that away from you, try to divorce you from who you are. That is what we mean when we say become who you are. What we mean is become who the spirit that is been embodied within you. And I know that there's been a lot of, mixing of races, and that makes things a lot more complicated, and really there's no caste system anymore because of the mixing of castes, so it's hard to find exactly what your own aptitudes are for certain spiritual truths, but then in a generic sense, when you kind of zoom out, we still have this underlying foundation. It seems like there's some good stuff going on in the chat here. Shifty Canadians trying to subvert American nationalism. Indeed, yeah, that is what American nationalism is. It's this recognition of this eternal form that really is the rubric, or you could say like the blueprint for how America should be, that has always been there, and that nationalism is just trying to preserve that and trying to promote that. And America First is just basically seeing your country, your people, as a family. It's the way we see our family. You want to put your family first. You want to protect your family. You want to make sure the values that are very unique to your family, the traditions that are unique to your family, basically these things that tether us to our values, they're preserved and that they're going to be disseminated for future generations. And so America First is just taking that principle, this practice that we all do on the individual and just the familial level, and applying it to a nation. This is a very natural principle, and the fact that this is somehow controversial or somehow like extreme is ridiculous. Perhaps you could say it's radical in the sense that it's different than the prevailing narrative, but it is not extreme. To be extreme would be to do something that is novel, to do something that is completely has no precedent, neither in history or tradition, in any established religion, any great religion like Christianity, which is the true religion, of course. But that is what is extreme. The left, they are extreme. Materialists, they are the extremists. Those are the ones who are extremists. We might be radical in the sense that we're counter-cultural, but we are down to our own nature. We understand our nature and who we are. And that is what we are trying to, again, preserve and protect and defend. And that is why certain traditions, one of these traditions that have existed since one of these, I guess you could say, not the perennial tradition, but just an ancillary tradition, peripheral tradition, is celebrating 4th of July. And people have their own, customs, cookouts, and those type of things. And, when we talk about preserving American traditions, that's not explicitly what we're talking about, but in a sense it is, because those type of things help to tether us. Again, they help to kind of establish us, help to kind of ground us and remind us of where we came from. And despite the decay that's going around, remind us of our illustrious roots. And help us reflect on these things. Reflect on the founding of America. And it was in 1776. That is when the people of the United States of America, the founding fathers in particular, kind of represented, the wide swaths of the American plains, the 13 colonies, stood up and said, we are our own independent, sovereign society. We have our own direction. We have our own culture. We have our own religion. We are very different than the United Kingdom or Great Britain or England or in King George III. We're very distinct from them in our values and our traditions, and it has been pretty much true since the founding of America. It's the reason why, it's the Puritans left, is because they're different. They're just a different people. And that's not to say that Englishmen can't assimilate or they can't come here. Obviously they can. I'm not trying to make some point that like only the Puritans can be Americans or something like that. I think almost all Europeans can assimilate to the American values, but those are what we're trying to preserve. And so that's why, I'm fine with there being lots of European immigration to America so long as they're absorbed into the American hegemonic culture. That is what's like, important to me. Obviously, bringing in other people from different countries who have different values and systems and ways of doing things is going to be the opposite, is going to cause a lot of problems. And that's what we've seen right now. And we've given them no chance to even try to assimilate. Maybe you could try to assimilate some of them, maybe, but I don't think it's going to be very easy, and it's going to take a long time. And obviously, that's not what we see right now. And so that is what the importance of 4th of July is it's celebrating the fact that we basically formally declared ourselves as this independent and sovereign nation, distinct from our mother England. We have to always remember our mother England, but we're distinct from it. When I think of like the Anglo-Saxon pagans, running around and doing stuff, I don't really feel any connection to them, frankly. But, if I was an Englishman, maybe I would, and maybe some of those pagan traditions that have been maybe assimilated into certain British culture, I think like May Day, they spin around a pole or something like that, or the what is it called? Hedge fund? No, I'm just kidding. With the Stonehenge, something like that, it's something that's important to the Englishman. That's something that's very removed from me. When I think of my roots, when I think of my identity, I think of the Mayflower. I think of the fact that my 13th great grandfather, according to family tradition at least, was one of the clergymen aboard the Mayflower. That's what I think about. I think about the fact that I have ancestors who were Anabaptists who came here, fleeing religious persecution, have been farmers for generation after generation, who tilled the land, were very hard workers, and a strong sense of they're very down-to-earth, very organic people. These are things that are very sentimental, and those are things that define who I am as a person. And most importantly, not just in like this peripheral sense of like, other things that might define me is the fact I like philosophy. But something that like defines me in the most meaningful sense, which is to say, as my spiritual foundation. It's my spiritual principle. It helps to direct me and give me values and what have you. Because how did he have kids if he was a priest? Because he was a Puritan. The Puritans had kids, silly. And they were not Catholics. There was only one really Catholic colony, and that was Maryland. Which goes to show, by the way, that America's not like opposed to Catholicism. Who? I don't know the name. I would have to like do research, but I'm a little afraid to do like a DNA test. I'm gonna be real, because it's possible I might find out like I think my great grandfather did this research and he told my mom. I'm afraid that he might have done wrong research, and then I'll be very disappointed. But I should do it though, just to confirm. Maybe I'll find out something even greater, like I'll find someone who fought in the American Revolution or something like that. But anyway, the government, the government, the Constitution, that was like 1789, right? Let me look up the date the Constitution was signed. 1787. So 1787, September 17th, 1787. That's the day when the government was formed, and we don't really celebrate that date because, again, this is something that's not really part of our nature. Is like a federalist system per se, like the democracy or something like that. It's not, and even then, the founding of our country was not really a democracy. Only like 5% of people could actually vote, and again, the states had most of the vested powers, and so it's very much a lot of subsidiarity, which is, by the way, a Catholic principle. But in any case, which is another thing that I think is very cool about America, is the fact that as the European countries are becoming these absolute monarchs, which is against Catholic principles, by the way, the United States of America remain very decentralized, which is like which is called subsidiarity. It's one of the two main Catholic social principles that always keep in mind: solidarity and subsidiarity. You don't want the atomization individuals. We want solidarity, a sense of brotherhood amongst all people made in the image of God to varying degrees. But that which can be done at a localized level, or at the level of the church or the level of a family, should be done at that level. It would be a crime against justice. It would be unjust, according to Catholic teaching, according to Rerum Novarum, and Quadrimisio Anno. That's Pope Leo the XIII and Pope Pius IX, respectively. It would be unjust to give to like the national government something that can be done at the local government. It won't be done as efficiently, and it will not be done to the same degree of knowledge and perfection. Anyway, so it's 1787. That's when the state was formed. It was in 1776 when our nation was officially founded. And so that is why we celebrate, and that is why I can celebrate. Some people were saying that they didn't want to celebrate because we're occupied and we're do this or that or the other. And that's true. You know, we are kind of occupied in a sense, but regardless, there is something to celebrate, and that is the spiritual core that defines who we are, the spiritual substratum, and then kind of determines, kind of permeates out. It's like just as the beams of the sun reflect out, the spiritual core that is in each and every one of us reflects itself and it adopts itself in a certain unique way for the American people, the Anglo people in America. And it's unfortunate that materialism, nihilism has kind of obscured this, kind of hidden these rays, kind of tried to shield them. And that is why we have to remove this. And then we have to celebrate these certain traditions that help to kind of jumpstart, like you jumpstart an engine, to jumpstart our tradition. They tether us to our tradition. It helps to, like when we reflect on our perennial tradition, which is, again, this is something that is unique to our nature and unique to our people. Yeah, if I come out 100% Jewish, yeah, just stick myself in an oven, please. No, I know for sure I'm not, though. I'm pretty sure my ancestors did good work. I mean, my mom's maiden name is Smith. It's like the most basic Anglo name you can have. My mom's maiden name is Smith. So yeah, I doxed my mom's maiden name. Go try to find, like, you know, one Smith. There's like a trillion Smiths out there. Anyway. How long have I been streaming for? Okay, let me keep going here. I wanted to also talk about, let me take a quick break, a quick pause here, and see what kind of questions you guys, and then I'll go to part 2. Part 2 is where did the whole West go wrong? I was talking to someone about this. I was talking to Aaron. I think some of you guys know about this yesterday. We had two very diametrically opposed interpretations about where the United States went wrong. Oh, yeah. AR's bank account, because they do ask for something like that, huh? Insecurity questions. They usually ask for 2, though, so. But I do have something else to show you guys here. Let me get this on. I got something cool to show you guys. That's something very cool. As some of you notice, I do have a new profile picture. And so to go along with this profile picture, I got a little prop here. Oh. Is it working? Let's see. Is it turned on? No? Alright, 1 second. There we go. Oh, I can feel the anime power. The power of the anime overlords is just seeping into me. Oh, this is a Super Saiyan of a Super Saiyan. It's like electricity. I can just feel it into me, man. I feel like I'm being possessed right now when I just think about the fact that, like, I just take on the anime form right now. I've just been embodied. It has consumed me. Anyway. So yeah, this is the thing about it is you can't see anything, so I can't even see myself. So I don't know what it looks like in the stream, but in any case. What's going on? What is going on? I just feel like there's like a lightning bolt shooting on my hands, like it's I'm like Lord Sidious right now. It's just feel that's how much power I feel like I have wearing these glasses. It's like the entire anime trope. I've just like consumed it into me, man. Too much power. No one man should have all that power. No one, man. Do they glow? Yeah, they glowed. Silly. Can't tell. Yeah. See there, yeah, there, turned on. Mega brain, giga brain, giant brain. Anyway, I'm just acting goofy now. I'm just acting like a goofball. Yeah, I'm a Fed. It's glowing. I'm glowing in the dark. When you turn off the lights, turn off the lights. Get them off. Get off the lights. Turn them off. Turn off the lights. Even better. Let me turn off another one. Turn off the lights. Turn them off. Get them out of here. Do the rest of the stream like this. Unfortunately, it's day, so I can't turn off the sun, but. Oh, this is so cool. Anyway, so this is my profile picture here. It's just me vibing with these amazing, like, the light of glasses. Okay. I don't know why. Every time I like see myself, it makes me feel like I'm electricity is just pouring out of me. It's like the entire earth is shaking. The earth is shaking. The ceiling is falling down. And then I'm raising it back up like I'm, it's like Dragon Ball Z. I've never even watched Dragon Ball Z. And I'm just creating this cloud of energy. It's just swirling around me like a tornado. And then I just direct it all on you. That's what's going through my mind right now. I have a vivid imagination, as you can tell. Glad to know this is where my super chat money goes. Yeah, it goes back to the show. Okay, it goes back to the show. It's for a good cause. Today, guys, this is my autistic brother brought in meme glasses. Please be nice. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Little bit of a detour there. A little bit of a detour, but anyway. My hair is kind of messed up now. Okay. Oh, what's going on with the hair? I'm putting like pomade in it lately. Alright. Anyway. Like flattened the volume. It killed the volume. You should take my political beliefs very seriously. I'm a very serious individual. Yeah, and just wait until I get out the Muslim costume. Oh wait, did I say that? Oops. Makes my nose look bigger. Are you saying I look Jewish when I put it on? Alright, let me check the entropy link real quick.